when it comes to politics in Ghana in the building right now. And there's one thing I'm not happy about. The fact that you have actually missed out on our conversation before we came on the air. I have in the place the flag bearer of the All People's Congress, an entrepreneur with many business interests both in Ghana and abroad. However, it's very interesting to learn that you actually started as an accountant. Very interesting. And, it's a great pleasure to have you. Dr. Hassan Ayariga.
My pleasure. How are you?
Very well. So
do you want us to stand or do you want us to sit?
No. You sit because I know you're just coming from the other side of town.
Yeah.
You must be tired, so don't worry. I'll stand. You sit. It's okay. All right. Welcome to the studios of Hits 103.9 FM.
Thank you, my brother.
Right.
Thank you, my friend.
How have you been? I mean, I know we've had this conversation, but your fans out there, the followers of your party would love to know how you've been.
Yes, we had our National Delegate Congress and a walk in Kumasi, the Ashanti Regional Capital,
Yes.
last week, Saturday. To be very honest, it was an interesting walk.
Right.
We hit the street of Ashanti. From our conveying point was Abu Post Office. It was interesting, even for the police and the security to control the crowd. But a very huge, massive, colorful event. And I was very, very pleased with the organization.
Exciting.
Pleased with the numbers that were coming out from various constituencies and even within and the various regions. I mean, it's an interesting work. And you can see I had my family there.
Right.
My wife and my 5 kids.
Oh, Anita was there.
Yes,
Oh, great, great.
I mean, I'm the only presidential candidate in Ghana who campaigns with the family.
Right.
No presidential candidate does that.
Right.
And this is to show how committed I am in changing the lives of our people. When you have your family in this country, you will do everything to make this country a better place.
I agree.
But when you have your family out there, you don't really care much about the people here because your family is out somewhere and you are here making the money and pushing it to them. But then Hassan Ayariga believes in Ghana, and I think there's no better place than Ghana. All we need to do is to put ourselves together.
Right.
Build this country for us because that is the only country we have as ours. And no matter who we are, what we do, we should always remember our motherland is Ghana. And that's the only place we can boast. Go anywhere.
Right.
Be the richest man in the US. Be the richest man in the UK. Be the richest man in Germany. They will still ask you, where are you from?
Ghana.
You have to identify yourself.
I'd like to say congratulations to you on your reappointment, as the flag bearer of the APC. Unopposed mandate.
Thank you.
That should. How does it feel?
What it is that it's already indication from the party to the grassroots that Hassan Ayariga is not being contested because they believe that this is the right man for the job. And once many in the party have that belief and that trust in me, automatically, it's not like in other political parties where many people are struggling to say, look, I'm the best man, I'm the best man, I'm the best man. What it means is that in the NDC, if there are many people contesting the flag bearer, what it means is that they don't trust their flag bearer.
Right.
If in the MPP, there are many people contesting Dr. Baumia, what it means is that he is not their best candidate, and he's not the candidate for them. So there's a contest, and that contest means that, look, we don't trust you. Some people think you're not the best candidate. So it's an indication that you are not the best candidate among us.
Right.
But when the people come out and say, this is the person we're all going to support, we are not contesting.
No contention.
No contention. No doubt about his leadership. No doubt about his personality. No doubt about his vision and policies. He's just the right man for us. And they will go. So this is, and that was what the APC demonstrated in Ashanti region. And I'm glad that they did that, and I'm happy. One day I won't be there, somebody else will be there.
Absolutely.
But till then, we need to change the narratives and change the perception and the mentality and attitude of the Ghanaian people.
We're gonna get a lot into Ghanaians and what your ideologies are, your plans for the populace and all of that. You attended Ghana Secondary School. I'm sure
Ghana
I'm
Yes,
sure your people must be very excited right now. What was your nickname in school?
You want to know?
I'd love to know.
I used to be called the computer.
The computer, ladies and gentlemen.
I used to be called the computer.
Wow. Why did they name you so? Because you were very smart.
I was very smart, and every question the teacher asked, I answered even before any other person in the classroom.
Wow.
So in mathematics, in all the subjects, I was always one or the first or second.
No wonder you emerged an accountant.
Yes. So I was nicknamed the computer. So if you ask my classmates and my schoolmates, they will tell you, oh, Ayariga, he's called the computer. Those days, I mean, we didn't have even computers. People barely used computers in those days. I mean, 1990, 91, 92.
Right.
I completed sixth form in 1991, 92.
Wow.
I was then about 16 years, 17 years old. I was one of the youngest sixth formers in my time.
And the only computer at the
time. And then there was another one. When I went to Boku, where I come from, then they called me the pamphlet.
From the computer to the pamphlet.
Yes, because we normally do holiday classes this time. And
right.
When when we go for holiday classes in Boku, my schoolmates and other schoolmates from different various schools all meet, and then we do holiday classes all the time. The teacher will ask a question, and I'll give answers. And then he will ask, where do you get these answers from? And I was like, I have a pamphlet. I have a lot of pamphlets. Okay. My daddy bought me a lot of pamphlets.
You were a walking pamphlet.
Yes. So I study before even the teacher comes to. I mean, I get ahead of the teacher. I study ahead of the teacher. So if we're going to do, for instance, a topic like, say, we're going to deal in biology and we're going to do in the human parts. And I know that tomorrow we're going to do human parts. I'll go and study tonight, the human parts, and know it very well.
So before you come to class.
So if the teacher is coming, what I'm going to ask him is what he's not even expecting me to ask. Because I've studied ahead of him.
Right.
So then they started calling me the pamphlet. I was like, wow, interesting names. The computer and the pamphlet.
And the pamphlet. Very interesting insights. In case you just turned on your radio, my name is Mercury Quay. I'm in the studios. Well, very surprising. I'm here with Dr. Hassan Ayariga. He is the flag bearer of the APC. And in case you didn't know what the APC meant, it's the All People's Congress. Well, we're going to find... So, talking about school, did you hold any position? Prefect,
Yes. I loved entertainment.
Oh.
So I was an entertainment prophet.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
entertainment.
That's my passion.
Because hits means entertainment. So I'm excited to know that you have, and I'm sure a lot of creative arts practitioners are now excited that our man is in the place.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite musician?
Wow. I'll be doing a lot of these services to a lot of them. But I have a couple of them. They're all good. All the Ghanaian musicians are doing well. The only problem is they don't finish well. They start well, but they don't finish well.
Right.
And that's my problem. They start, and then later you just see them going down, and then that's the end of it.
But it's supposed to be the other way around.
It's supposed to be you start, you die with it, you grow with it. Because music is a message.
Right.
You tell people, it's like politics. You tell people your vision, your policies, your strategies. This is what I'm going to do for the country. This is what I'm going to do for the world. A musician is somebody who picks information and spread it to the people to hear. It's not just singing. You educate people through music. You educate people the world through you even have a vision as a musician.
Yes.
You should have a vision as a musician. You don't just rap. You don't just sing and make the rhetorics and make noise. Noise. Nobody's going to listen to noise.
Absolutely.
People want to listen. That is why legends like Bob Marley, like Michael Jackson, like Marvin Gaye, like Don Williams, like
Freddie Mercury,
all these guys, had message. And when you continue to spread message, you always have something to say. You never lack anything. You always have something to tell the world.
Something reasonable.
Something reasonable, something interesting to tell the world. Musicians should be like prophets who come and, preach to us the word of God, the word of mankind, the lapses in the world, the problems we are facing, solutions. You can even project and give solutions to our ailing economic situation through music. You can be a politician through music, spreading the message through music, and people will always want to listen to you.
Right.
So at the time, whilst in Germany, I grew up in Germany, and at the time in Germany, I was running a lot of musical programs.
Wow. So you've been a promoter.
Yes, I was promoting a lot of music, and we were doing it on the beach side.
Right.
What we do is that we have a place called Rhine. It's like a linkage between major cities, like a big river, not like our Donau Rim that is very dirty. And so when I get the power, all these places, I will make them clean and make sure we use them for these kind of programs.
Right.
So what we do is that I get boats, all right? We hire boats and small ships and small this, and we go to the Rhine and we place them there. And then we now put the system on the Rhine there.
And the
water.
DJ is on there.
They're right there. So we're dancing from one corner to another in the water. And people will be swimming and dancing while those in the boats will be dancing while those using their... it's interesting to have it in Ghana. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be fun. I see the way you are mentioning dancing and you're making some... I know you love... I know you love Stonebwoy.
Yes, that's why I was saying I was going to mention a few of them.
Okay.
But then, I love... Pa.
Satawale.
I love Stone.
Right.
Stonebwoy. I love Sarkodie.
Right.
I love Samimi. He's gradually going out of the scene. I don't know why, but he's good. And Kiddy, a whole lot of them. There are guys. Kiddy too is now fading out a bit. I don't know if I'm right.
Well, it depends on where you're looking at it from.
Yes, and then a lot of the ladies.
Sister Fia, Wendy Shea.
Wendy. My best was the one who passed on.
Oh,
Ebony. Ebony was one of a kind. Was bringing up a different style of music. May her soul rest in peace. But she brought something new into the Ghanaian African music. But then... You know what happened. So we still have a lot of them.
Yes.
We still have a lot of them.
I think if you're not on Facebook, you should get live on Facebook. And if you're not on Dr. Ayariga's, Instagram or his Facebook or his TikTok, you should get on because he has been re-elected. And he's told us that he loves to dance. So you're going to get to see for the first time on Hits 103.9 FM, Dr. Hassan Ayariga on the dance floor. Let's get into it right now. Call these moves.
Move with the music.
Move with the music.
Every move you do comes from the music you're listening to, sir.
That's right.
That's interesting. It's interesting.
Great. So in case you just joined us, a big welcome. You're with Mercury Quay on Hit 103.9 FM. We're with Dr. Hassan Ayariga. In just a few moments, I'm going to be asking him, what his plans are for the youth of Ghana should he attain power, as our president. Now, Doctor, you grew up partly in Accra, Boku, before settling in Nigeria when your parents went on exile after the overthrow, of...
Imam.
Yes. Also, as a result of the moving around by your father, you went to schools in Accra, Boko, Tamale, and all of that. How was that experience as a child?
Interesting, because you, growing up as a young man, very, very, very promising future, and then you find yourself moving from one place to another. It's something that you be thinking, why am I moving? You ask your daddy, why are we moving from Ghana to Nigeria, from Nigeria back to this? And then you realize that there was a reason, and that reason was political situation, because former President Rawlings did a coup in 1979. We were affected. Then my father was an MP for Boku Central. So he was the only MP as at that time for the 6th constituency that we have now.
Right.
That time it was just one constituency. It was called the Boku Central constituency. Today it's divided into 6. Benduri, Garo, Timpan, Uziga, Zebila, and Boku Central. So these are the 6 constituencies so far. So it was a very huge constituency. And moving from Ghana to Nigeria, I remember that day Shagari was overthrown by Buhari. When we were leaving Ghana to Nigeria, and we got to the borders, and they said, no, you can't enter. And my father removed his card and said he was an MP, and he was taking his family to Nigeria for rescue. Then they said, okay. We spoke Hausa. And Nigerians, when they speak their language, you're welcome.
They can't connect,
yes,
right?
So we moved in easily.
Was there some tension?
Yes. From where we were coming from, there was huge tension.
Right.
And where we were going to, there was tension too.
Wow.
So you can imagine. So we slept at the beach side in Togo. I remember that day I had malaria. And my daddy, we were lying, and there's a lot of mosquitoes, by the seaside. My daddy had to go and get a towel with water and came and wrapped me. I can imagine that.
Yeah,
so
I can imagine that, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm feeling cold. And then mosquitoes. Then I had temperature too.
Wow. Some biting you,
yes,
some singing.
Yes, and he was sitting down watching all of us. Then we moved in. We grew up. Funny enough, I went to one of the best schools in Nigeria called Flagbearer College that produced all the presidents in Nigeria. Anybody who happens to be a president of Nigeria has attended that school. So lately, when I went to Nigeria last year, and I told somebody that I attended Flagbearer College, he told me that you become president.
Wow, inshallah.
Inshallah. He said most people who attended that school became president.
Wow.
Most people. So I was like, really? He said, yeah, you become one.
Is
Since
that
you're
what-
running for president.
Yes.
Since you're running for president.
Exactly. I wanted to ask, is that what pushed you to become
No.
a politician?
Because last year I was already running.
Okay.
So when I told him I was from Flagbearer, he said, all the Nigerian presidents came from Flagbearer. So you're likely to be one of the Ghanaian presidents from Flagbearer, and we'll put it into history books.
Wow.
So it's an interesting migration as a young man. We went there. Our daddy had to get an apartment for us, and then he had 2 cars. We had to see what to do. We had to start living. My mommy became a teacher. She started teaching in CAST, College of Advanced Studies, and we were living in Wusasa Barrow College, around Wusasa, Zaria,
Right.
Kaduna State.
Right.
That's where we
Kaduna,
lived.
okay.
Kaduna State, that's where we lived. So I speak Hausa so well. Myself, my younger brother, who is Muhammad Ayariga, who comes directly after me.
Oh.
The Muhammad Ayariga from the NDC.
Right.
He is my younger brother. He comes directly. So people will be
Interesting,
thinking
yes.
that, the Muhammad Ayariga and Hassan Ayariga, are they just related? Or are they related or not? That's my younger brother.
Right. So
That's
they
my
are actually related.
direct brother.
And it's
He
even
comes
deeper
direct-
than you.
Yes,
okay?
he comes directly after. I was with him. We were together.
Wow.
We all went to Nigeria to live.
Interesting to know.
But it's funny enough, when we got back, and then the NDC was looking for a candidate for Boku Central. They looked around and they said, the only credible candidate they should pick now is from the family of Ayariga. So they went to him, the house, and then they picked him for the candidature.
Wow.
And they said his father did so well, so he should be given the opportunity. So he contested and won. Until now, he's been the parliamentary. But I said, I'm not going to go to a party that threw me out of this country.
So 2002.
Yes,
That's where
politics.
Yes.
I became the chairman of the PNC in Germany. I was the chairman in Germany.
Right.
I came home and contested to become the national chairman for the party.
Right.
But then, When I got in, I realized that I'm going to contest as chairman, but I'm going to sponsor Edward Mahama. So I said, why am I going to do that? Why should I take my money, sponsor somebody to be the presidential candidate who's been there 4 times?
Right.
No, it doesn't make sense. So he should resign so that I will go as presidential candidate. He said, no, it's not going to happen. I said, oh, look, you're a father to me. You're a father figure and all that. There's no need the two of us contesting each other. I mean, you should be training me by this time or others to take over from me. He said, no. I said, okay, then in that case, we'll go into a contest. So we went into a contest and he lost. I became the youngest presidential candidate in Ghana and in Africa.
Africa, yes.
39-40.
How did it feel?
The youngest. The youngest, very young, very, very, very young. And, you know, moving from Germany to Ghana to become a candidate has different views. And then I left Ghana to Germany at the age of 16.
Right.
16 years.
16.
After sixth form.
You were very young.
Very. I did a lot of things at my tender age, my younger age.
I wish we had time to get into some of those
yes,
things.
Yes. We have a lot of history to tell.
Yes.
It's a whole lot. But then, after he lost, then we started the campaign. It was interesting to. Then they said, look, we are not going to support him. We're going to desert him. He should do whatever he wants to do. Since I was not part of the team they were not part of the team that helped in the defeating Edward Mahama. So he was still in control of the leadership at the top. So he got the leadership to work against me. And I told them, look, I don't need you to work against me. All I have is those who are the grassroots to support me, and I'll pump the money to make sure that the PNC was visible. And that's why you saw visibility of the PNC in 2012.
Right. So that answers.
Yes, billboards everywhere, posters everywhere, every corner of the
Do you remember how much you put into that?
I spent a lot.
$2 million,
Oh,
$3 million,
I can't say.
$5 million.
Oh, I remember one time my bank called me and asked me whether I misplaced my check. And I asked
Because
them
you
why.
kept signing.
Yes, I asked them why. He said every corner they are getting calls of cashing my checks. And yes, I said, they said, no, it's too much, Chief. You don't write, you don't. I said, no, leave it. That's what I want.
Wow.
So they were like,
I'm just trying to imagine how much was involved.
No, I don't remember. Because you're spending without calculating.
Right.
You know, when you have passion for something, you spend. When you have passion for things, you do without even measuring.
When you have passion for something, you spend.
Yes. You spend. You don't. You're not bothered about the spending anymore. But when you don't have passion for something, you
always do calculations.
You're adamant. What am I going to do? No. But when you have passion for something, you don't really care. You are spending because you want that thing done. So whatever it takes to make it happen, you're going to do that. So that was what I was doing. So I didn't bother signing checks. I'll go to a place, can sign 10 checks and say, you go and cash.
And the bank will start calling.
And the bank will be called, I say, pay. The bank will, because so at the point they thought I lost my check and people were going around the country cashing.
Cashing out.
But then it was the campaign.
Great. So talking about campaign, I mean, it's exciting that you are back in this race, 2024 general elections. You are going in, and I love the whole vibe and exuberance. I mean, you were in Kumasi. You know, people are excited. What makes you the right person for the job?
Interestingly, you know, passion for something is very important. The love for your country is an important tool. But when you love a country where leaders who you think should be doing the right thing are doing the wrong thing, you will get frustrated at a point in time. You can't sit down and watch it happen. Because coming out from a political family, growing in a political tradition, as a very young man who went on exile because of this same this country called Ghana, the same leadership. And then you sit down, you see that instead of people building the country, they're ripping the country off. Instead of, I grew up in Germany. So if I sit down and make comparisons between the German youth and the Ghanaian youth, and I look at that environment of our young people who are so hardworking, and then they have nothing coming from their leaders. And then I see Germans who are very dull in their own ways.
Comparably,
then
yes.
their leaders are making them active and making them become very, very active, forcing them to be active. Then ours are active, but our leaders are forcing us to be, to be lazy. You can't sit and watch unless you don't have the conscience. Look at this country. Come to think about it. We're one of the richest countries in the world.
Right.
Believe it or not. But I'll tell you why I say we're one of the richest countries in the world. In every resources, human or natural resources, mineral or any resources, we are rich. But we're so poor in leadership. And that is what is killing us.
So we are rich,
we are rich
but
in
we are
everything.
poor in leadership.
And that is what is killing us. That is what actually destroyed Ghana. We have oil, bauxite, gold, diamond, timber, cocoa, magnesium, manganese. Mention it. Assuming we are even so dumb and we don't know how to manage our country, and we decide to say, this is how we're going to run Ghana. We're going to share every mineral resources to 1 million Ghanaians. Let's every mineral resource take care of 1 million Ghanaians and see whether we'll be poor. So cocoa, proceeds from cocoa should take care of only 1 million Ghanaians. Proceeds from oil should cater for 1 million Ghanaians. Proceeds from lithium, lithium should take care of 1 million Ghanaians. Proceeds from timber should take care of 1 million
Ghanaians.
We will be so rich to the extent that we will not know what to do with money.
You have the fisheries, all of that.
Everything. We have more than 30 mineral resources that we can take out. Even the sea is a mineral resource that we can harness it and make a lot of money from it. But why are we so poor that we cannot even feed 3 square meals a Ghanaian?
You see, Doctor, is very baffling. A school of thought would hold it that all the aspirants speak like this. They tell us the problems, they tell us what the solutions could be. But as soon as they attain power, the narrative changes.
And that is why you should keep changing them. Don't repeat them.
Right.
Don't recycle them. And that's the mistake we Ghanaians are doing. If I propose to change Hit FM 103.9, and then I'm given the opportunity to be the CEO of this particular industry, and then every day is lights off, machines are not working, salaries are not being paid, the youth are not motivated, you don't send them out to bring in advert, and a whole lot of things, and the building stinks. The microphones are, dirty. Nobody wants to sit here. I don't think that you want to continue recycling that leader. Change is a key to new life. Listen very well.
I'm loving the quotes today. Change.
It's a key to
new life.
Yes. So when you make changes, new things happen.
Right.
So if I change that leader who is managing this place, then I now see a plasma TV on the left. There's a center out there monitoring whatever is happening. People are tweeting and people are, transmitting all these things. You will get to understand the value of Hit FM. Sooner or later, a lot of advert will be coming through and you make enough money to pay workers, salaries will go up. They're happy. Don't forget, people work for the money.
That's right. Talking about money, let's say a big thank you to Telecel, Connecting Energies, EcoBank, A Better Way, Better Africa, MTN everywhere you go, Franco Trading Enterprise, Still Phone, Papa Pafi, Soccer Bet, your best bet for sports betting. These amazing brands are powering us on Hit 103.9 FM, Cruise Control. And in case you just turn on your radio, you're with Mercury Quay, and today I have a very special guest. We have Dr. Hassan Ayariga. Yes.
So these things pushed me. And growing up from this tradition, seeing how Ghanaians are suffering, the youth have no future, the country is in the hands of the wrong people, making promises all the time, and nobody is fulfilling those promises. And it's sad because Ghana is lost. Ghana is lost.
Right.
And somebody need to find Ghana. And some of us are willing to do that, to unearth the potentials in every Ghanaian. And say, this is the country. We must begin to change our mentality.
Right.
And the Ghanaian must come first. And that is why in my manifesto, I wrote Ghanaian first.
Ghanaian first.
Ghanaian first. Whatever we do in this country, we must consider our people to be number one priority. Number one. Because we've lost it all. We don't even believe in Ghanaians anymore. In this country, the country has been taken over by foreigners. And we are becoming the 21st century slaves, new colonialism. And that is what Nkrumah spoke about. People don't understand. It's happening, but we don't know. The scholars don't even understand that it's happening. The politicians do not know it's happening. The politicians are the one pushing it to happen because they're giving your sovereignty, your right to foreigners and calling it PPP. They're giving your future to the foreigners and telling you that they are doing partnership. You don't partner and take everything away from me. We have youth. That really need the youth out there. They want to take this country. And we've denied them the opportunity. Do you know where they are now? They have become the 21st century gamblers.
Right.
Our kids are now focusing on gambling, and they are calling it betting. Because they have no future. They don't see anything doing. So their attention is now on betting, and they bet every minute, every second. And you see them holding their phones. What they are looking is betting.
Get rich quick.
Yes, because there's nothing for them to do. The only source of income now is to bet. And this is a very dangerous addiction.
Good evening to the Betters Association.
They are there. They are listening. They are listening. They are laughing all over. But I'm touching on them. You know how I go speak the truth.
Yes.
Because you see, what kind of future are we giving to these young people? They're supposed to be our doctors, our engineers, our professors, our lawyers, our say it again, our nurses, anything. But right now, because there's no future for them, there's no way for them.
Yeah,
there's no focus. There's no leadership.
You mentioned betting. I don't want us to go too far from that. So there's 10% tax on betting. You think is a step in the right direction? What would you do if you?
That's where I'm coming.
Right.
We need to know why they're betting.
Right.
And what should be done. And why it's an addiction. Google and see the best and the rich millionaires who are football players, who are stars in the world, and then see their downfall. And you see that it's as a result of betting. Many rich men who have started from the top to the zero, it's because it's easy to get to the top through betting, and it's very easy to come down through betting.
Right.
And when you go down, you don't come up again. But we need to build a society that is promising, a society that is sustainable, a future that we can boast, a Ghana that can create jobs, that can give opportunity to the Ghanaian youth, a Ghana that can feed its nation, a Ghana that can house its citizens. We cannot do that through betting.
Right. You mentioned sustainability, very exciting. I'm really happy you mentioned that. I've heard politicians talk about job creation. But one interesting thing is that little is said, about sustainability. You create a business, but how do you sustain the business? So many people are quick to start businesses, but they don't have the art of sustaining the business to be profitable, to get return on investment. So as a result, a lot of businesses die out when the storm hits. So do you have any policy to create an enabling environment, Dr. Ayariga?
You just answered the question.
Right.
You're talking to a serious politician come businessman who understands the dynamics.
Right.
So you answered the question without knowing.
Okay.
You said an enabling environment. That is what is important. That is what is necessary. An environment where sustainability is very easy to attain. Because many people who run businesses in this country, the environment does not allow them. It's not conducive for them to grow. You go to Germany and you see businesses that are 200 years old. Companies that are 50, 70, 80 years old. You go to the US and you see GMC, you see all these companies. They are not there 2 years, 10 years, created by those who are now managing it. It was created by their forefathers, great-grandfathers.
Ford, Coca-Cola,
all these things. And they sustained them over the years. And they have become rich tycoons. But we in Ghana, we believe in this kind of one-man business. We don't believe in partnership because partnership destroys us. We don't believe in sustaining these. Putting ideas to, and that is why I have a project financing fund for graduates.
Right. Is it part of your 100
It's pa-
million,
It's part of my
budget
policies
for? Okay, right.
It's part of my policies for Ghana.
Right.
Graduate project financing fund.
Right.
It's a fund that I'm going to create as president. That all these students who come out of school, and for instance, we get about 5 students coming from various universities, the tertiary, let's say UDS, let's say News, Legon, and all this.
Yeah.
And for instance, they want to create a bottling company, and 5 of them wants to run a bottle company. So we bring these 5 from the various schools, look at their project plan.
Right.
And we say, okay, 5 of you from, I'm going to put, you don't know what I want to do. You should be asking me how I will know all this. Because we're going to put a national data
We'll
system
get there, yes.
to capture every
data. I love that.
Yes.
It's one thing we always run away from.
One thing we don't have.
Yes.
And we say we're doing Ghana card. I will let me concentrate on what I want to do. I don't want to get out of there.
Right.
So this graduate projecting fund is going to give graduates the opportunity to have access to fund. So when they're out of school, 5 graduates will get, let's say, 1 million Ghana cedis, and put the 5 of them together and say, this is 1 million Ghana cedis. I want the 5 of you to start a business. This is how much tax you'll be paying to government, and this is how much returns you'll be making, and you'll be paying back to the loan, the facility.
Right.
So let's see how 5 of you
are able
to run a partnership. This is what we don't have in this country. So you start sustaining business by having partnership. Partnership allows sustainability, because nobody can begin to manipulate and try to take cash out of it. Because in Ghana, people believe that if I start a business, the next thing I should have a car.
Yes.
I should buy myself a new car. People should see me.
Yes.
Even when you get contract, when they award contracts to people, construction company, instead of him going to buy tipper trucks and pickups, he gets himself a brand new Brabus. He wants the society.
It starts driving around.
Yes, he wants the society to know that he's made it.
Right.
But that is, you haven't. You are yet to. So you invest the money back into the business so that the business will start growing. You don't spend business profit and capital on luxury things.
Right.
You reinvest it into the business.
Luxury.
Yes.
Luxury. I'm sure a lot of creative arts practitioners are at this point asking, so let's take the bull by the horn. What do you have in store for us? Because you're talking about business generally. I mean, I love this idea that you just put up. I think this is salient. I think it's something that would actually turn things around to a very large extent. What do you have in place for the creative artists, the creative arts industry in Ghana?
That is an interesting point. What I think that we should be doing now is to begin to educate and put up institutions that will facilitate, promote the creative industry. The creative industry is left alone to just few individuals who are struggling to build it and sustain it.
Right.
Government is not projecting it. Government is not supporting it. Institutions are not funding it. And the industry is one way or the other even fighting against themselves. And that is what is crippling the industry. There's a negative competition.
Negative competition. It's supposed to be positive competition.
Yes, it's supposed to be a positive
Right.
where we lift each other, promote it. Because it should be a competition of ideas and a competition of entertainment.
Right.
Somebody is bringing in an idea, and all the industry would sit down and say, look, you know what, this guy is doing, why don't we bring him on board and see how we can.
So, Doctor, you know, I have the impression that it is rather a cultural issue. You know, they call it PhD, pull him down. Crabology, you know, the crabs when they are going up, the ones that.
In my submission, if you remember, I said that we need to change our mentality.
Right.
It's part attitudinal change. And I said the Ghanaian first. If you run a country without that concept of mentality, you're bound to lose. You're bound to fail. Because before you can change people, they must be ready to change themselves and be willing to change themselves. You cannot force the people to change. So they must have certain mentality and attitude of change for you to be able to help them raise it up. We have pull me down, PhD kind of mentality. And Ghanaians must come out of this.
Right.
Our competition is not against each other.
Right.
Our competition is against poverty, hunger, lack of infrastructure, lack of hospitals. I mean, all these basic necessities. Ghana,
that's what we should be fighting.
Yes, that's what we should be building. Look, I would like to see a president who is so simple like me, who builds certain standards for Ghanaians and not building castles there. The Ghanaian people are not looking for rocket skies, what do you call it?
Skyscrapers. Right.
They're looking for the little things that will make them comfortable and happy. Water, electricity, 3 square meals, food security, housing, healthcare. These little things. No president is able to do that.
Musicians in this country, creative artists, actors, what have you. Many a time we hear they need support, after performing and doing all the things in life. So it's become a trend. You know that they start so well.
Yes, and they don't collaborate so well. There's a lot we can do in that industry.
Right.
And I'll be very honest with you. That industry needs overhauling.
Overhauling. The creative arts industry needs overhauling. What kind of overhauling, Doctor?
Leadership.
Right.
First.
Right.
What's the leadership like in that industry? What are the structures? Face it.
So, Dr. Honorable Dr. Honorable Marco Krekumante, they are the leaders of the sector. You think they are not doing a good job?
I think they can do better.
Right.
I'm not saying they're not doing good,
right.
But if they are listening to me, they can do better. We can have a meeting. I can have a meeting with them.
Right.
And then I would spell out a lot of things because this country belongs to all of us. We should be contributing our quota, not necessarily to the presidency or the political terrain. We should be able to meet one-on-one, have discussions, invite some of us and say, look, we want you to tell us what can you help us in this industry.
Right.
We will grow.
I can tell you for a fact that Honorable Marco Krekumante, who's Deputy Minister Creative Arts and Tourism, is in tune to the show. If you have the opportunity to have such a meeting, what will stand tall in what you tell them?
I will look at the first of all, I'd like them to give me their notes on what they've been doing over the years. What are their plans? You can have a plan that you don't execute. It's waste plan. You need to be creative and innovative in this industry. And being creative and innovative in this industry means that you need to apply the things you outline. Don't say, I want to encourage the creative industry to visit Europeans to see how their own is and go to the US and
exchange programs.
And then you have it on your blueprint, but you don't do it.
Right.
It's waste because most of the time they have all these plans in their blueprint, but they never execute it. When you ask them, they say funding. It's a problem. That's what they tell you. So
that's always the narrative.
That's always the problem.
Is that because the funding is unavailable, or it's because we have misplaced priorities?
Exactly. And then the other problem is that we are not committing ourselves to it. We are not doing. We cannot sit down and say funding and we don't look for the funds. You have to look for it. If you don't look for it, it won't happen. And don't forget, Ghana is a very beautiful country that people want to come into this country and do things. They need collaboration, the outsiders, with the Europeans, with the Americans, and collaborate very well. If they're able to do that and build institutions, the creative industry, I don't see any institution that they've put up there doing anything to help the industry. I have not seen one yet, unless you know and I don't know. Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know one. I must be honest.
So you see, you sit behind the microphone and you don't know.
Yes.
So you see, the power of the microphone is another.
Yes.
The man behind the microphone. The man behind the microphone is more powerful than the president himself.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
The man behind the microphone is
so let's rephrase it. Mercury Quay is
more powerful than the president.
Right.
Yes. Yes. You know why? This is where you said. I tell you, your listeners are many and numerous. The things you say every day makes people happy, reduce their tension and their stress, makes them feel good. Somebody is now in his bedroom, in his car, listening to you. He's not listening to the president. If you tune and give the microphone to the president to speak, they won't listen to him. They'll change the frequency and go somewhere. You're entertaining them. That's the industry. The industry has a very huge membership. And when you make one mistake, it's going to affect the whole country. When you do one thing right, a lot of people will be happy. So the man behind the microphone is more powerful than the president sitting in the Flagstaff House.
Dr. Hassan Ayariga. Really insightful conversation.
And trust me. It's nowadays. It's just because we have now many radio stations.
Yes.
In the 90s, when we had just Joy FM 99.7 and other few
GBC. Yes.
Everybody was carrying a simple. Those time I used to live in Germany. I used to do import and export.
Right.
And I used to bring in a lot of goods.
Right.
And I started bringing in the small FM. What do you call it? Radio?
Radio. Yes. FM. Yes.
FM. And then sometimes when I open my shop, my containers, I bring about 10, 15, 20 containers. When I open the containers.
So if you are into that kind of business, don't forget that Dr. Ayariga has been there.
Yes. So the money I make from that alone was more than the goods, the main goods I brought in. Because people were just running and they were buying those few things because they wanted to listen to Joy FM. They wanted to listen to the music and these radio stations. So everybody was holding it and, listening. So you now there's so many radio stations, so many of them. So information is not actually spread evenly.
Right.
Because Heat FM is saying something.
The other station is saying
something. Joy is saying something. So now we don't get to get all the information centered at one place.
Right.
So those days when information was centered at one place, the power of the microphone was huge, massive.
Right.
Massive.
Man, I so hate the fact that we we have to be rounding up. I wish we could actually do this for like 3 hours. You see how time flies. We already
7 o'clock.
But I wanted to know, two things just before we say goodbye. I hope we can do this quickly.
Sure.
The other one, I mean, when I announced that I was going to have a conversation with you, they kept saying, please ask him how he felt when he was given the name Ayarikov by former President Rawlings.
Yes, we went to Asante Hene. And then we're having a meeting.
Right.
Myself, Rawlings, President Mahama, and then Asante Hene, and then we're sitting down.
Did you cough?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So we're having a chat. Then President Akufo-Addo, that time he was candidate Akufo. We were about 6 of us. We were having a meeting with Asante Hene. And then President Rawlings said, you made your brother president. You made your brother president. I was like, what do you mean by you coughed your way through and made him president? So I said, no, that was not it. That was not like that. It was, I had cold.
Oh.
Okay, I had cold. I had a very serious cold. And I even asked that we postpone the exercise.
Right.
So if you look at the interview, you will see that there was a bottle right in front of me. It was made up of ginger tea. And my wife gave me frequently to sip all the time.
Okay.
So when he mentioned that, and then he said Ayarikov, and then people just took it, and then, but it's interesting. It's good.
I mean, I'm sure these are things that you actually laugh over.
Oh yeah, you see, you cannot be hit by mere jokes from people.
Yes,
if you see me and you call me Ayarikov, what I know is that you don't respect yourself.
Right.
The moment you mention Ayarikov to me, you don't respect yourself.
Right.
Because if you respect yourself, you not say such a thing.
Right.
Because everybody has an ill health.
Yes.
So when the person has an ill health,
and it could happen. I mean, myself,
so the moment you say that, I just look at you and see that you don't have it here.
Right.
So I walk away.
He walk away. So your question is answered. the next time you mention that, he walks away from you.
Yeah, that means you don't respect yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your take on the LGBTQ plus bill?
Plus bill. I think our president is wasting time.
There's a development today or yesterday that he's, there's a court, order and all of that. So there's going to be a lot of delay in that.
The president is wasting our time. The president is taking us for granted. And if he doesn't know what he's doing, he should do it right quickly, and sign this bill to law. We don't believe in this kind of, let me put it, inhuman behavior and disgraceful act and attitudes of destroying mankind and breaking our tradition, our norms. And I don't think those things are things for us to discuss as a nation. We should have signed that bill long ago and move on to look at economic crisis that we're having and situation where Ghana is lost. But LGBTQ is not a Ghanaian thing. Let the Europeans behave in that barbaric manner, because they don't even understand what is love. We are a nation that believes in continuous production and to produce children. That's why you're born. That's why your man standing right in front of me. That's why we have these young people. If we begin to marry man to man, dog to animal, dog to man, sheep to goat, I mean, who in his right senses in this world will behave in such a barbaric manner that a man marries a man? And what's the reproductive cycle now going to happen?
It stops.
It stops. So the world is coming to an end. A woman marrying a woman. And then a man marrying a dog. And a woman marrying a cow. And all that. That's the part people don't even get it.
Right.
We are only looking at the
man,
gay
man,
and the yes, that's what but we have forgotten the plus.
Yeah.
That's more dangerous. That's out of the world. It's crazy. Come on. What's wrong with the world is coming to an end. Jesus Christ, you come down quickly. It's bad. The whites think that they can impose all this nonsense. Let me put it that way. I'm getting upset now. To the African world, because we are beggars. And that is why some of us don't want to become beggars. We want to take over this country and change things, because they cannot go to Saudi and tell them this. They cannot. They cannot say it in Saudi Arabia. They dare not. Who can do it? Nobody in this world can go to Saudi and tell them this. But we Africans, they are bringing it to our president. It's so shameful that even our president is listening to this. But you see, beggars have no choice. But I'm not a beggar. And I'm president, I would have signed this. If the president is keeping it long, he should wait until 7th January.
Dr. Hassan Ayariga here on Hits 103. And you should be here to see the entire production team clapping, and this will be posted on Facebook for you all to see what it looked like here when Dr. Ayariga made this statement, and this will go down the books of history as one of the most powerful speeches done on this bill that is pending signing. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us here. The entire youth of this country is listening to you right now. Unfortunately, we are pressed for time. Time is not our friend. We have to go. In a minute, what message do you have for the youth of this country, the people in the creative arts industry?
Creativity is an act of love, understanding, will, and power. If you're an industry that is entertaining, begin to do things differently, act differently. Don't wait for people to do things before you copy. Do things for people to copy. That is the important part.
Right. Don't wait for people to do so. Do things for people to copy. Right.
If you copy, you become second.
Right.
But if you are creative in that industry, you become number one. And that is why Dubai is doing so well. Mm-hmm. When I met the Sheikh of Dubai, he told me that, Ayariga, I don't want to be number 2 in the world. I always want to be number 1. And I asked him why. He said, because if you're number 2, you're copying from somebody. So all my life, I keep imagining things. And I do things differently. And that is what Hassan Ayariga is up to.
Right.
I do things differently. So Ghanaians, you've listening to me. We are running late, even though there's no time. I think that we can help promote the creative industry, support it anyway. Let's one time open a line and then ask for ideas. And you will see the number of people who contribute.
Right.
Because they know what is happening. They have ideas, they have visions. So one day, just sit down and say, today we're going to open the lines for people to contribute to the creative industry.
We will work with this advice.
And then you see what is going to happen. You'll be